Okay, so do you feel like you have been on a really long journey of self-discovery, maybe in hermit mode for quite a long time? I mean, 10 weeks, 10 months, 10 years even. There has been a shifting of consciousness that's been going on. And the way that we decide to look at life is changing. And I want to make something clear. When you are stuck in a traumatized, unconscious pattern, you are not making a choice to stay within the suffering, especially growing up in family units where those are the patterns that we are taught. As a child, you are in your most vulnerable state, being programmed for what to believe in and how to experience life. So when I say that we can choose our path, I don't mean that in this unconscious state you were choosing this. It was because you're probably told that this is all that there is. And when we are told that this is all that there is, it is the hardest thing is to break free from that, to see new possibilities. Remembering that there is more to ourselves than the limitations that have been placed upon us. So I'm making this video because I feel like there is a common theme that's coming up where dreams are coming true, wishes are actually coming true, things maybe that we never thought were possible are actually unfolding right now. But when facing this, that's really when all of those old unconscious patterns can come up again. The fear around trusting ourselves and our decisions to move forward, because if you took some leap of faith on this path so far and it did not pan out the way that you thought, then, your body might still be holding that. 2, 3, 4 on the timer. I think everything's happening in exact time that it needs to, but going through the cycle one step at a time can feel so frustrating when we are constricted to facing all of these family traumatic patterns, because then we have to see them within ourselves. We have to see how they have influenced our lives, how we were unconscious, and try not to blame ourselves for being unconscious. Because you can't judge yourself for just trying to dissociate and get through the pain that you are in. When you are brought into a family and you hold the truth, the Ace of Swords, and you speak for justice, I speak my truth and fairness to myself. When you hold that truth, that becomes a threat to those who live in the lie, who are surviving by the lie, right? So when we believe that things won't work out for us, we're always holding some sort of pattern, anticipating that the other shoe is going to drop. When our anxiety is so, and the fear and the dread and the anticipation of disappointment is ingrained within our bodies, then every time something comes up that we might want to hope for, that fear comes up as well, and we have to battle through it. And it does feel like a battle. But right now, The intuition is driving you to something new. You have the high ground and are seeing clearly. And this is the feminine energy of the mind, of those who have power over their mind. So this has to do with our internal world. Really, the biggest factor in our growth is learning how to not hurt ourselves within our own mind. Everything that has been coming up recently in the astrology is asking us to look forward in a different way. We can see the situation in another way, from a new perspective. And when we see something from a new perspective, then we can take that inspired action. I make decisions without pressure. So then moving forward in the clarity of your decision, 616 on the timer, will bring in the balance that comes from finding the surety in those decisions. And we have to consistently do these practices, regulate the nervous system within ourselves. I love using tarot because with the divination, it helps us reflect from a different way, right? To understand where we find that sadness and learn how to look at it in a different way. To see maybe where we are seeing the cup as half empty. Something is unfolding right now, and it's asking you to have hope. So if the knee-jerk reaction when you start to have hope is fearing that it's going to get taken away from you, that's being held within your body. Learning these breathing techniques, learning how to step away from the limited perspective and bring some objectivity into the situation, to see and recognize the old patterns. That is the biggest step of all. You know, sometimes I think we can feel that we have to do everything alone, be the only anchor. But as we actually allow others to meet us, where we each self-regulate, people can surprise us. We can surprise ourselves. We can look at things clearly, and maybe we don't see it perfectly clearly, but we see something different, right? We see something different. We see a clarity that we didn't see before. The Ace of Swords coming out again. I am ready for a breakthrough to success. That is an affirmation. I am ready for a breakthrough to success. You can type that. You can write it down. State it for yourself. I am ready for a breakthrough to success, because this breakthrough has been a long time coming. You know that you've put in the work. You know that now, as you're moving forward, patterns come up and you are witnessing the triggers and moving through them. They might not be easy, but you're not being controlled by them. I am worthy for the deepest kind of love. Is this about love? Is this about the reciprocation of what it is that you have wished for, of your heart's true desire that maybe you didn't think was going to be reciprocated, but it is? Because your intuition guides you to the truth, the High Priestess. You don't go down the alchemist journey for this long and not become the high priestess. Your intuition took you here. It brought you here. And you are going through the portal now. And I know it's hard to believe that things are actually going to work out this time, but that is what is required now. And it doesn't mean that doubt can't come up. It doesn't mean that fear can't come up, because these are all natural parts of us witnessing how we get triggered within this. And every time we see it, we know what we can free ourselves from. And then we know how to make the best possible decision for our full potential and happiness. Look back at compassion for yourself and know that you always will be rewarded for what you have done and the work you have put in on this path. This is coming to you. I just heard tenfold. Whatever you have lost is being replaced tenfold. I trust I am always safe and protected. 11:11 on the timer. Your security, stability, safety is coming in. And it's learning how to not be fearful of that leaving. Learning how to manage the reactions from the triggered patterns is what is healing you, is what is bringing in this new abundant life. Because you followed your own path. So, and now you are ready to love and learn. The Emperor. Underneath that, I make empowered choices. The decisions that you're making in your masculine energy are aligned with your intuition now. They are being guided by your intuition, by the courage to actually take those decisions. And that's why you're receiving the blessings you are receiving. That's why you can feel that the blessings are coming in. But it requires that action and the trust that it's okay that it might not have all worked out in the exact way that you thought. But if you really allow yourself to sit in the feeling, not what this looks like on the outside, but the feeling of how you have evolved, of how you have changed, of how you have healed, of how that's coming in even more so now. And now you're able to presently witness your life. Sit in the gratitude of that. Sit in that and you will feel the gratitude of it. And it's just going to feel a lot better. And focus on what you can enjoy right now and allow all of your blessings, your manifestations to come in, trusting that you've had to wait this long and you found a way to trust. Now that they're so close, this is the biggest test, to not try to control them, right? To not try to control what happens. I choose my battles carefully. Exactly. Choose your energy, choose your decisions, choose your actions wisely, because everything that you do is going to come back tenfold. So take that aligned action that feels right. Because this is the moment of the breakthrough. That's why it feels so uncomfortable. And every time you make this decision, you're retraining the feeling within your body to trust in good things, to trust in the ease of enjoying your daily life without the fear and worry taking over so much. This is the alchemy that you are doing, and this is the strongest thing anyone can do. So you should be very proud of yourself. And don't cringe when I say that. Okay. I'm going to end that here. Yes. I am worthy of the deepest kind of love. That's for you. That's for how we love ourselves. That's for how we love our lives, how we love what we do, our friendships, our relationships, our family. You are worthy of that. 1515. Yeah, looking the devil straight in the eye, huh? Because you know who you are, and you know you are supported and that you are never alone. This journey is going to get easier because the hardest part is over. Sometimes it's hard to move forward after we've been through the hardest part because of how much it affects us, and we wonder if it's going to happen again, but it's done. Smoky quartz. You might want to get some smoky quartz. This helps transmute negative energy. This is very protective, very calming stone. All right, well, I'm going to leave it there. If you'd like to work with me personally, I do astrology and tarot readings. I do subconscious reprogramming meditations and sound healings. So you can find all of that linked below on my website, or you can go to embodiedsoulstudio.com/readings.